All right, kids, it's time once again to gather around for the We Are One, You Are Two PlayStation podcast. I am your host for this 105th episode, Rob Fanzo, joined once again by the He Is Now Battling Monsters in Chicago, Matt Rhodes.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong there. The sixth case confirmed of the coronavirus, so...
Yeah, you're battling this corona bats that keep spreading it.
Yeah, it's nuts. We'll see what happens, but, you know, so I work for, like, a West Coast tech company here in Chicago. Mm-hmm. They've been pretty proactive about, you know, especially because they have offices in, like, San Francisco, about, like, being proactive about, you know, if we have to shut down the office, like we have contingencies in place so you can work from home and things like that. So having that kind of, security for the job and, having the job be conscious of the problem and willing to do things to help us not get infected is a good sign, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a little scary and a little weird out there, and I'm kind of curious to see how this evolves as it begins to warm up, since there is not really an issue, I guess, right now, but there will be, right, eventually, if it gets bigger here in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's an issue on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's not an issue so much where you and I are yet.
California and Washington are having some issues, but yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'll be very curious to see what happens here. With summer too, I guess, is what I'm thinking of, because with summer you won't have to.
Right.
Supposedly the virus will be kind of like the flu, where it will die down, and so I'm really fascinated by next fall to see if it becomes part of the rotation of viruses that we have to be concerned with every year. Yeah, so because I've read that, there is that potential for it to become mixed in with the flu as a regular virus that we worry about.
That's right.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about PlayStation, because we are a PlayStation podcast. And if you like what you hear, you can always go and rate and share and subscribe to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play. What am I missing here? Spotify, any podcast servicing of your choice. I think there's something called like Podcast Addict. I'm pretty sure we're on there as well. And if we're not on something, please let me know. I'll be happy to add us to it or make sure we're there. We're certainly on YouTube as well, so you can go like and subscribe to us over there. You'll get the podcast there every week as well. And of course, if you really, really like us and you really want to hear more from us and have us do this more often in a better way, and even get maybe perhaps an additional podcast going, you can head over to patreon.com/weareoneyouare2 and check that out over there as well. Now, Matt, we've got a good show lined up for people this week. Normally I say great. I'm going to say good this week and undersell it just in case it becomes great. I do want to spend... See what I'm doing there? Always undersell.
That's right, Rob.
Wait, no, it's... what is it? Undersell and over-deliver. That's right. So we're going to talk a little bit about Resident Evil 3 and some confusion surrounding that. We're going to talk about PS4, supposedly how many units it sold, a ridiculous amount compared to Xbox One. We're going to talk a little bit about PlayStation productions and what we'd like to see as adaptations. And of course, we're going to talk about E3 and whether or not we think it will survive cancellation, because I think it's going to get canceled this year, but we'll talk about that soon. We'll also hit up the PlayStation blog, as we always do. So, Matt, a lot to talk about this week and a lot to run through. So I hope you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready, Rob.
I hope so. Now, I didn't do my usual ticker where I count out to see how many games are on the PlayStation Store this week, right?
Oh, yeah.
But we will do that when we get to the blog and the drop, and we'll find out. It's going to be a surprise for you and me. We'll find out how many are actually in there.
Oh, and see what happens. I noticed that you hadn't done your research, so I did the research while you were talking just then. And there's only 9 this week, Robert.
9 again?
No, yeah, we had 10 last week, and then now it's 9 this week.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So this is a thin week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see then what happens here. I can't wait to read these. All right. So, Matt, first and foremost, as we always do, as tradition dictates, as the people expect, and so the people shall receive, as I was going to come up with something else and I couldn't, but
I was going to say, you're just going to repeat the same thing.
I was trying to cut my best WWE promo and I screwed it up. I was trying to channel my inner Dwayne Johnson, my inner Rock. But anyway, let's talk about
what we've been playing.
Yeah, let's not get copyright straight. I don't know if he has copyright or not, but let's talk a little bit about what we've been playing.
All right, Robert. Well, you know me. It's short.
I know,
and sweet.
Fortnite,
Rocket League. I tried to play that The Mystery of Woolly Mountain, but I don't know what happened with my save file. It's like it loads, but then the game is frozen. So I might have to go back in and play it again, like play through, up until that point again. I was only like an hour or so in, so it shouldn't be hard to catch up. But that was kind of disappointing because I did want to actually play that today.
Now I thought you and I had agreed, for February, that we were going to both play games from the February lineup. And I thought you had played one this week.
Oh, I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember if when I talked to you about that.
That was this past week. You did not talk about it last week on the podcast. So
okay. I thought for I don't know. The weeks are blending together. This week went by so fast. So you're right. I talked or I played. Is it Drogan?
Draugr, I believe.
Draugr? No, it definitely ends in an N.
Oh, okay. Then it's Dragon.
Yeah. And it's pretty great. I mean, obviously there's some like minor issues with the the voice to mouth movement, the kind of lip syncing kind of, but it's not terrible.
Okay.
But it's a gorgeous setting and it is an interesting story thus far. I think I played like right after we were done here and, played for like an hour and a half, maybe 2. And it got a little creepy. So I was like, maybe I should play this during the afternoon. But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. I mean, I really like it. It's very it's creepy, but also kind of relaxing.
Okay.
Just because the setting is kind of just like really chill. I noticed you had mentioned some, people were having gripes about the story being kind of cliche or whatever, and I do have my hunches as to what's going to happen. So I'm sure if those come to fruition, then I'll be like, okay, yeah. I mean, when you can see something coming, obviously it makes it a little bit cliche at least. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I will most likely finish that tomorrow.
Nice.
Or tonight. But yeah, it's really great. I really enjoyed it. I have been really enjoying it. It's like a walking sim.
How long did it take you to play? Would you say, estimate?
I put like 2 hours into it, or like an hour and a half, maybe 2 into it so far. I honestly don't know how much longer it'll be. I would imagine probably less than 5.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think it was like, $20 maybe? So.
Okay.
That's worth it for me. I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
What about you, Robert? What have you been playing?
Oh, what have I played? Well, Matt, I'm glad you asked. I haven't been playing a whole lot this week because, I've just been busy. However, in my little time that I did have, and I think actually most of this came early in the week, like Sunday of this past week, I messed around with Greedfall. I tried to finish it, and I'm like, I'm at the point now where I had 3 missions left. I did 1, and then I put it back away. And I was like, I can't finish the last 2. And I don't know if it's because I just don't want to make choices. I don't know if it's because I'm just so tired of it or what, but I want to finish the freaking game. I just have to, because if I don't, I'm going to put a gun barrel down my throat pretty soon. And so I just can't take it anymore. I need to finish this game. I know. Well, it's better than spooning out my eyeballs, I think, because that's probably going to be more painful. That was my first option.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going to have to finish this game. So I'm going to finish Greedfall this week. Come hell or high water. I played some Hunt Showdown because I love that game. I love that. That's my multiplayer go-to game, I think, now.
Yeah.
So beyond that, really, the only two things I played was I tried to get more into Bayonetta, which I was ready all week to say on this podcast that it's not as great as everyone thinks it is or everybody remembers.
Mm-hmm.
But I take that back now because I started getting a little bit more into it. I got like 2 chapters into it. I guess I was judging it too early, and I'm starting to realize it is actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, the thing that I played the most of because I only had 10, 15 minutes at a time and 20 minutes at a time. And it's really good for that. And it's also my pick because you and I talked about Drop and a Deuce being a segment that we wanted to do on here every month.
Yeah.
And so Dragon was your Drop and a Deuce choice, correct?
Correct. Yes.
My Drop and a Deuce choice from February was Blood Roots.
Oh, okay.
And it was the one about the Wild West where you're like Left for Dead.
Yeah.
And you play as the guy with like the bear hat.
I'm glad that you did that one because I thought about that being my choice.
It is a platforming Hotline Miami.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is like you will die a lot and it'll be very quick and it reloads very quickly. And your job is to run through each area, slaughtering every enemy, right? And they're laid out throughout the level and there's some more platforming involved.
Yeah.
What I love though is everything's a weapon.
Okay.
And so like there's trophies for killing someone 100 times with a fish. There's trophies for killing someone 100 times with a carrot. You can kill them with a hatchet. You can kill them with a sword. You can kill them with your fists.
Yeah.
You can set them on fire. You can kill them with a head of lettuce. I've killed an enemy by jumping inside of a rubber tire and rolling them over. And so it's very cartoony in that way. It's very fast. I think I probably put 3 hours into it and I'm at the end of Act 2 and there's only 3 acts. So you could probably finish it in less than 6 hours would be my guess. Right?
Yeah.
If you're 6 or 7 hours, if you're really good.
Right.
It's one of those games that I wouldn't mind picking up and just playing for 15, 20 minutes at a time. You might get through a level or two, or there's lots of trophies and scoreboards related to going back through levels you've already been through.
Okay.
And getting higher scores. And to help with that is there's hats that you earn that he can switch out his bear hat or his like wolf hat with. Like, so you can get like a bear hat, you can get a fish hat, you can get a boar hat, you can get like a dog hat, a bison hat. And so those hats give you different abilities.
Okay.
And you can use them on levels you've already beat. So I beat the one level and I put on the fish hat, and the fish hat makes you move in the opposite direction. Why you would want to do this, I don't know, but it makes you move in the opposite direction of what you press.
Interesting.
Whereas the bear hat lets you one hit kill everybody with your fists.
Dang.
Which, I mean, you can do that with most enemies anyway. You can one hit kill them, I guess. But there's a few enemies that might be wearing something that you have to like hit them twice. Mm-hmm. And so I guess that's to take care of those guys.
Interesting. Okay.
And so it's just a lot of fun. Like I think also, again, $18 or it might be $17 right now. I know it's $17 right now on the Switch. It might still be $17 on PSN because I think that's what I paid for it.
Yeah.
I love it because I love Hotline Miami and I love that quick get in, figure out the optimal route for me personally, even though there's more than one. Figure out the ultimate route or the optimal route, and then move through there just picking up weapons and killing them, because most weapons only have 1 to 2 hits anyway. So it encourages you to kill somebody with a carrot, run past the other guy, grab a sword, throw it back at him, right? Pick the sword back up, run past, use it on the next guy, and then pick up like an oar and smash a guy over the head with an oar and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it really encourages variety and goofiness. So
nice.
Highly recommend it. Great game. Funny trophies. I like the name of the, I always used to talk about the trophy names.
Yeah.
There's some good ones in there that I like. So yeah, it's a fun game. Paper Cult is the dev and the publisher, and they did a great job with it.
That's awesome.
So probably one of my indies of the year so far.
Sweet.
All right, Matt, let's move into and talk a little bit about some topics this week, huh?
Yeah, let's do it.
We've just got a couple of things that I'm going to read out and talk about. We're not going to cover a whole bunch of news. There was a whole bunch of news this week. A lot of it's stuff that I just didn't feel was worth prepping for.
Okay.
I will say that the PlayStation 2 did turn 20 this week.
That's nuts.
So happy 20th birthday to PlayStation 2. It is nuts if you think about that, because I feel like it wasn't that long ago. But I did want to hit a couple of news stories and then hit some of these topics. And so the first thing I wanted to mention that I did think was worth talking about is Death Stranding is no longer a PS4 exclusive from the 2nd of June on. It will come to PC.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody cares about that. I don't know how you feel about that stuff because some people get real fired up. Do you care if PlayStation exclusives go to PC? Is that going to stop you from buying a PlayStation in the future? Is that going to stop you from buying PlayStation exclusives?
No, it's not. it's
I don't
really
care. Like the more people who play it, the better.
Yeah. I'm not, I mean, I get it. I get the concern to a certain extent, but it's not going to stop me. I'm not going to be like, but I mean, if it's, think of it from a PC perspective. If you're a PC gamer and you're like, oh, well, this will come to PC too. So why do I need to buy a PlayStation? I can see,
I have to say, honestly, this is a weird thing that I've been thinking about a lot, actually. I think we are so entrenched in these ecosystems now that there's a lot of brand loyalty involved.
Yeah.
And with everything being backwards compatible, supposedly next gen, I think if Microsoft can come out and say that you can play your Xbox games from any gen on Xbox Series X, there's no reason for me to switch away from the Xbox.
Right.
If PlayStation comes out, because they said that, right? So if PlayStation would come out and finally admit that not only is it PS4 backwards compatible, but your PS3, PS2, PS1 games are backwards compatible too, there's no reason for me to switch to an Xbox. There's no reason to switch out of the PlayStation ecosystem for me.
Right.
And so I think the days of where you would switch consoles from generation to generation, I don't think that exists anymore. I think for the most part, people have this library of games. They want to hang on to that library and they don't want to have to do that anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I'm not going to be a PlayStation guy that suddenly switches to PC because the exclusives are suddenly jumping ship, right? I'm not going to go, well, I'm not buying a PlayStation because they're putting all their games out on that. I'm still going to play on PlayStation because I love the ecosystem. I love the trophies. I have all these other PlayStation games. There's no point for me at 35 years old switching over to another ecosystem and starting over.
I mean,
that's
just my
thought.
To a certain extent. Yeah. I mean, there are some exclusives that, might be like, I mean, here's the thing. If you were an Xbox guy, would you cross over for something like Last of Us?
See, and that's hard coming from a PlayStation guy perspective because I think about the other way around. If The Last of Us was on, but I mean, okay, so Cuphead and I'm trying to think of another exclusive, I guess. There are a couple of games that I have looked at and went, okay, here we go. Hellblade 2 is an Xbox exclusive, right? Is that going to make me switch over? Probably not. One game, I can't see myself switching an entire ecosystem for one game. When Cuphead came out on Xbox, I was like, man, that's my style of game. That's my game. I really want that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel the need to go get a PC or switch over to Xbox because of that, though. I just wrote it off as a game I will probably never play.
Yeah. And lo and behold, it came to the Switch.
It did. And so then I played it. But
well, see, here's the thing nowadays. I mean, with Microsoft kind of being okay with doing like Switch ports, I wonder how much will actually be just Xbox exclusive.
I don't know. I know Hellblade will because I can't imagine Hellblade running on a Switch.
No, I couldn't imagine either.
And so that's where I think Switch is going to be in trouble this year is when these new consoles come out, the power of all the third-party games. Are they really going to want to work on the Switch, right? Work backwards to make sure it works on the Switch? I doubt it.
Right.
But anyway, I mean, sense. I just wanted to mention that about Death Stranding because it doesn't, and ask you because it doesn't personally affect me. Unless Xbox would come out next year and say, here are 10 exclusive games, and all 10 of them would be like, whoa, I need to play this. I still wouldn't even switch. I would just see if I had the income to get an Xbox on top of my PlayStation. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would not switch brands because to me, Sony, I would miss out on the Sony exclusives, and Sony has been to me the better exclusive machine. And I'm not a PC gaming guy, so whether or not they put all theirs on PC, I don't feel the need to switch over to PC. I'm a console gamer. I need to have that separation of work and play. And that's the other thing I think that ties in for me too. So,
okay. That makes sense.
Just a thought. All right. So the other thing I wanted to report on, not that you care or I care, but there was some confusion this week about Resident Evil 3. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I mean, you know me, I'm not super into Resident Evil, so I unfortunately didn't see it.
Well, apparently there was a misunderstanding in an Xbox Magazine article that said that not only Spider's coming back in Resident Evil 3, but Nemesis would be able to enter into safe rooms, which is the place where you normally ran in Resident Evil if you needed a break from everything. If there was a safe room nearby, you knew that no enemies were coming in for that. And so people were freaking out because this was shaking up the entire Resident Evil formula, and some people were unhappy. Well, apparently the Xbox Magazine misreported that, mistaking that they were in a safe room when they had played. And in fact, it was just a room that had a typewriter in it. It was not a safe room. And they said that he will not be able to break into safe rooms. And so they are maintaining that Resident Evil breathing room, I guess. I just thought it was a big bunch of halloo over nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to report on that one because I also thought that was just interesting. Again, not a big deal. And then the last thing I want to report on before we talk about anything of significance here is that Google Stadia has taken away Shannon Studstill from Santa Monica Studio. She has been replaced by developer Yumi Yang. But what I find really fascinating about Shannon Studstill is she's been with PlayStation for 19 years, and she was basically helped drive Cory Barlog to make that new God of War.
Interesting.
And so that's quite a poach.
Yeah, I'd say so.
For Google Stadia. And so I'm real curious if do you think Google Stadia poaching these big names is going to help it any, or do you think it's still going to flounder and fail?
I mean, it's hard to say, honestly. I think I can understand that's kind of like how it's going as far as where it's going in regards to, the actual game itself, like how it's, the game, technology rather is progressing to. So, maybe it dies off for now, but I don't think that it's going anywhere in the long term.
Okay.
Maybe in the short term, yeah, but I don't really think, I don't really think that long term there's going to be any issues as far as it, as far as it kind of, coming back maybe.
Okay. I was just curious. I mean, I don't know that.
Because here's the thing, if you, Google has tons of money, right? And they have tons of cloud space. And that's kind of if that's the way kind of gaming is going, maybe they kind of say, okay, well, we'll keep it running, for the few people that are using it, but we're going to completely revamp it. Mm-hmm. We're going to kind of take a step back a little bit and, take some time and see what we can do to kind of really revamp and let technology progress a little bit more so that it's, catches up a little bit with what they actually want to be done with it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the future of Google Stadia is. I think this is a smart move for them. Just because you have big names doesn't necessarily, and people who have proven track records doesn't mean that you will have the games per se. I'd like to think that means they would, but I also could see where things just don't progress or that they squander this talent, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like it ultimately comes down to what the brass tacks and the big offices want, whether or not these people will be successful there. Yeah. So we'll see. And I don't know that. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to tell. I also wonder if Google will stick with Stadia long enough for these people to produce anything of value, or if they will give up. Although poaching these people kind of implies they want to play the long game. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just to move on, the last thing I wanted to point out was that PlayStation Player Celebration. Did you sign up for that?
I did.
Okay. And if anybody else did, I do want to point out that we have officially, as of March 4th, this past week, completed all 3 quests. And so the first goal was hit to February 27th, which was about 72 hours after the opportunity launched. The 2nd of March, we hit the second goal, unlocking the 5 avatars. And as of March 4th, we unlocked the final dynamic theme, which means that we played 675,000 PlayStation 4 games and unlocked 2.7 million trophies.
That's insane.
And so those should be popping in people's inboxes, I imagine, by the time this podcast goes live. Hopefully, we should get our themes and our avatars.
I did get something. I did get an inbox saying something about like the first one, hitting the first.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if it was on. I don't think it was in my actual like email inbox. I think it was on my PlayStation.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's where
Like
I would think it would arrive.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything on mine. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. Here's your gold 2 prize, which is weird. But I don't have my first prize.
Get it together, Robert.
That's so bizarre. It doesn't give me my.
Did you sign up too late? Maybe.
No, I signed up. I thought I was the one that told you about it. I signed up before that baby even began. So
yeah, I don't know. I'll check my messages too.
That's all right. Hopefully we'll get all 3, and it won't be one of these wonky things where they give some people 1, some people 2, some people 3, and it's all screwed up.
Right. Oof.
What a mess that would be.
100%.
So, Matt, we've got a couple topics I wanted to touch on today, I guess, and really spill into. We're about half hour in, but really wanted to hit on these 3 topics today. And so would you like to, I'll let you choose. Would you like to talk about PS4 outselling Xbox One? Would you like to talk about PlayStation production adaptations? Or would you like to talk about E3 2020 creative team?
Let's just do them in order.
Okay, so let's start off with the PlayStation 4. It came out this week that, Microsoft hasn't really reported any sales figures in a while. But computer technology company AMD, during a recent briefing, stated that total PS4 and Xbox One sales amounted to 150 million units. Now, a couple weeks ago, Sony said that PlayStation 4 was sitting around 109 million units, right? Give or take.
Right.
So I'm, doing a little math here. And, if I do my math correctly, that tells me, right, that if Xbox One sold, let's say, 41 million units, that means that Sony has sold 68 more million units than Microsoft this gen.
Wow.
That is impressive.
Now, but how many of those 109 are US only?
I don't know.
Because, I feel like Xbox is US only, correct?
No, I think global. Well, yeah, it had to be global because in Japan they've sold like a whopping 10,000.
Okay.
And so I doubt they would not include that 10,000 if they could.
Yeah. I would like to see, like, if it's that much of a crazy gap, like what the sales just in the United States might be.
Now, my question to you is, do you think that this is a combination of a lot of... Do you think actually, first off, the biggest question, do you think Xbox cares?
No.
No, I don't think they do either, because I think that a lot of their Xbox One exclusives, right, are on PC. They have Game Pass, which they are smashing it with. Yeah. I don't think they care.
Yeah. Yeah, their services, I think, are going way better than PlayStation's.
Yeah. I think the consoles are secondary to them. If they can have, out of that 41 million people, if they can have 20 of them on Game Pass, they won't care. Because I think I think ultimately for Microsoft, that's where the money lies and where they care the most.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, do you think that they're trying to change that for next gen with the way that they've aggressively marketed the Xbox Series X?
No. Because realistically, they, with all the, I'm sure they've maybe aggressively marketing it. But everything they've said is like, well, it doesn't really matter if you buy it or not. Because
Game Pass, because, your games are playable on all consoles, because, all our exclusives won't be out for at least until a year after Xbox Series X releases.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so sometimes I feel like Microsoft only makes consoles still because they feel like they have a crowd they have to cater to, not because they want to. And I don't mean that
as an interesting thought. I mean,
not as a knock to them. I think that if they could tomorrow say, we're good with consoles, no thanks. We'll produce games and software. We'll put it on Game Pass, which you can access on your PC. And ideally, they'd love to say PlayStation or Switch for $9.99 a month. You can play these games, sign up for this service, or, right, you can play it on our PCs. I don't think they would. I think they would stop making their Xbox. If they could say that tomorrow, they would.
Okay. That's an interesting thought.
I might be wrong. And yeah, I mean, feel free to disagree with me or point out flaws in that logic. But with how hard they've been pushing this gen for Game Pass, I see more commercials for Game Pass than I do for Xbox. Am I wrong?
I don't know. I don't see a lot of commercials anymore.
I don't either. I know commercials are a thing of the past, but I don't know, just something to chew on, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting thought, right? Like, they're just kind of like, oh, well, we have these millions of people that don't want to buy PCs and are okay with buying consoles every 6 years. Maybe we should continue to do this.
Yeah.
I can understand that logic to it, right?
And I think they're seeing results because, and this ties into, I didn't bring this up as a news story, but on Tuesday, Sony officially confirmed that in March of 2020, Tomb Raider, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Control, and Wolfenstein 2 are being added to PS Now.
Wow.
And those are all fairly recent games.
Yeah.
Especially Control.
Yeah.
And so you can't tell me that that's not Sony swinging their thing around a little bit saying, oh, look, PlayStation Now is just as good as Game Pass now. Or we're getting there, right?
Yeah.
I almost bought Shadow of the Tomb Raider because it was like on sale for the deluxe edition for like $19. When I saw that, I thought, I'll pay for a month at $9.99 and play Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Or pay for the year for $20.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what it is, right? It's still $20 for the year? Or no?
I think so.
60.
Or maybe it's 60, but that doesn't sound right. Yeah, I think it's 60.
I mean, still.
Yeah.
Yeah, $9 or $10 for, play it for a month. Why not?
Right. Let me double check on that. I'm gonna go to PS Now's site and see. Yeah, $59.99 for 12 months.
Okay.
So, why wouldn't I? Of course, then again, I also could play it and beat it in they have the 7-day free trial if I was real hardcore about it. Beat it in a week.
I mean, you'd have to be real hardcore about it, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't know how long of a game Shadow of the Tomb Raider is, but anyway, my point being, I think that's where Microsoft is going with this, and I think that that's ultimately why they don't care about these numbers. I think that's why they don't care about they want to boast about next gen, but I don't think they want to boast so much as they do want to push and be very clear that Game Pass is where the money is.
Yeah.
We'll see. But either way, that's a staggering amount for PlayStation. 68 million more. That's a lot more units.
Pretty insane.
And pretty impressive. And I think that's why PlayStation is very ready for PlayStation 5 to be a transitional, as best as it can be, a transitional machine as quickly as possible, because they recognize that they are the market leader in consoles and they want to stay there. And I don't think they see that Microsoft cares nearly as much about consoles as they used to.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Man. All right. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about our second thing here that actually ties into this, because I'm going to skip around a little bit. Let's talk about E3, because E3 Microsoft was supposed to be at this year. E3 was going to be different this year because it was going to be organized based on personalities and experimental zones and access for insiders and influencers. And it was going to be kind of a different feel, right?
Yeah.
Instead of being so industry driven, it was going to be very much consumer and influencer driven.
Right.
Well, I Am 8-Bit, the video game merchandiser, was supposed to be the creative director tasked with putting all of that together. But they tweeted out this week that it's with mixed emotions that I Am 8-Bit has decided to resign as creative director of what was to be an evolutionary E3 2020 floor experience. We've produced hundreds of gaming and community events, and it was a dream to be involved in E3. We wish the organizers the best of luck. What do you read into that? Do you read anything into that?
I mean, could it be signs that they're worried about coronavirus and maybe E3 is not going to happen this year?
It could be. It could be. That was my initial reaction. And then the more I thought about it, I thought, what if what E3 wanted them to do to make this revolutionary floor experience was not in line with what I Am 8-Bit was hoping to do? What if there was creative differences there too?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's certainly something that
could happen too, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Either way, I think this is telling. And with the emergency in LA surrounding coronavirus, I don't know that E3 is going to happen this year. And it also makes me wonder if it doesn't happen this year. And so, first off, do you think it will happen this year? Because there was a state of emergency called in LA over the coronavirus.
I mean, it might, but if it does, I think it's going to be like the last minute decision that's going to be kind of thrown together. Because it normally happens, June, the first week of June, second week of June?
Yep.
I mean, here we are in March, the weather's supposed to be getting warmer, it's supposed to, that might help slow down the virus, but we still don't know yet. Right?
I don't either, yeah.
So, I don't know.
Let's say it doesn't. Is this what I've long predicted as the death of E3? And let me explain why. The event doesn't happen. Every company realizes that they have to do digital state of play style conferences or showcases, right? To show off what they were going to show off at E3. They realize that they don't have to spend as much money to produce these. They go, no wonder Sony pulled out. Do they go to E3 the next year?
I mean, I'd be shocked if they did.
Or do they go, hey, you know what? This is actually kind of nice this way. We still got all the press we wanted. We still got all the things at a fifth of the cost. We didn't have to send anybody. We didn't have to have a presence on the show floor. We didn't have to pay the ESA.
Yeah.
Does this spell the end of E3 if it doesn't happen this year?
Yeah. I mean, I'm leaning more towards, yes, it being canceled indefinitely if it doesn't happen this year.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to come back from that, right? Like if it gets canceled, you're right. You then all these, it's not going to stop publishers and studios from announcing things, right?
Right.
Just because it doesn't happen doesn't mean that they're not going to still want to announce things around that time.
Right.
And if E3 becomes like a digital thing, then why not continue down that road?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I'll be very, very curious to see what happens because I don't know that this is going to work out very well for them.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right. On a brighter note, anything else you have to say or speak to in that regard?
No. I mean, that's
we
all.
salute you, E3. You were great for the last 20-some years. We're sorry to see you go. The other thing that came out this week, a couple of days ago, actually, was, Sony has established PlayStation Productions in order to adapt its intellectual properties for TV, cinema, stuff like that. Naturally, they talked already about how they hinted at last year that there was going to be a Twisted Metal series. They already confirmed that the Uncharted movie is going to begin filming apparently within the week or two, right? Which is hard to believe.
Yep.
They also, though, the other day tweeted out, and Neil Druckmann himself tweeted this out, that Sony Pictures Television and HBO are pairing up together to do a Last of Us series with Neil Druckmann co-writing alongside Chernobyl's Craig Mazin. And that, if that wasn't big enough news, they also said, quote, "This is the first of many shows we intend to develop with our friends at PlayStation Productions. The Last of Us is a brilliant achievement in storytelling and character development, and we're lucky to have the opportunity to work with this team to adapt it." End quote.
That's
My
awesome.
question is, yeah, it's incredible. How do you feel about this? What's your reaction? And then two, what would you like to see them tackle next? Since apparently there's more in the works.
Well, that's honestly, that kind of keyed into my immediate reaction. Those kind of coincided. Because while you're reading that, I was like, man, I would love to see Horizon Zero Dawn series on HBO. That would be insane.
Yes.
That would be just ridiculous.
Are you worried at all about narrative games being retold as shows? Because do you feel like that might be like, well, I've played it, I've seen this exact cinematic, I have an attachment to the voice of Aloy, or I have an attachment to the voice of Joel. I don't want, this other guy playing Joel.
I mean, there's certainly those concerns, but I mean, think of like Henry Cavill and what he did with, The Witcher. Like, I mean, his voice was pretty similar, which was kind of weird.
It was kind of weird. And actually, I guess if you're a fan of the books, you're a fan of the books. But if you've also played the game, you also have a very distinct Geralt in your head, right?
Yeah.
And so I was a little concerned about liking him. But I think, and I think because they draw so much on the source material of the books, they're still great. And I think they still can tell stories in the Witcher universe. And I think it works really nicely. I'm kind of curious to see what happens with The Last of Us. I wouldn't mind, actually. I know that they're going to do Joel and Ellie because they've already said that they won't change Ellie's sexuality in the show. But I'm actually kind of was hoping they'd do just some additional characters in a slightly different storyline. I don't want the same storyline. You can have Joel and Ellie. I want a different storyline. I want more adventures with them then.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, yeah. I mean, they had to cross the whole country, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, those were realistically just snippets, even in the game, for as long as the game was.
True.
Right? So, yeah, I mean, there's still a lot more to explore with that, for sure.
So, Horizon Zero Dawn jumped to mind for you?
Yeah, that's the one that popped in my head immediately.
I want to see something like Bloodborne. I want to see like a Victorian Bloodborne-esque, or Bloodborne itself, right? Because there's not a whole lot of narrative. I don't know, though. I mean, that's kind of a tough one, right?
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank would be great, an animated series.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'm trying to think of other PlayStation properties that jump to mind immediately that would be great. Anything else you can think of? I don't want Uncharted. We're getting a movie, which I still think is a mistake. I'd rather see that as a TV show. Yeah,
I mean, I get it.
But I think it's a terrible idea. I'm glad, though, that they're at least doing a prequel to all the games, right? That there is going to be a younger Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
So at least there's that. Anything else, though, property-wise that you can think of? I know I know Twisted Metal. I'm actually kind of excited to see that as a series. Would you want God of War?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That one's tough, right? Because you think of like the first installations of the game and how they were. It was kind of like a hack and slash kind of a killing a bunch of things kind of game. So where was the narrative? It wasn't absent, but it was harder to care about this like killing machine, right? Whereas,
right.
He's kind of more humanized in the new iteration, and that's just such a story that I think that they're going to complete.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's kind of I don't know. That's why it's hard to say for me on that.
Yeah, it is tough. Maybe Gravity Rush would be kind of cool as like an anime type story.
Yeah, I can see that.
Certainly, I wouldn't mind something like. Actually, I wouldn't mind the Order 1886.
Oh, okay.
Because I loved that game, and that's a whole universe that's really fascinating. That you could, since we're probably not going to get a sequel game, you could easily do a spin-off story.
Yeah.
Right? That would be really cool. Ghost of Tsushima, I think, is a little too soon because we haven't even gotten the game yet.
Yeah.
Unless it was some sort of companion show that came out around the same time, which might be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a Dreams animated series. I don't know what that would look like. That'd be a horrible idea. I was just joking. That'd be a horrible idea.
It's like, I don't think there'd be.
I would smash my head between two bricks if that became a thing.
Do it.
I don't either. That was a joke. That's why I said it. Because everybody just remakes everything in Dreams. So, it would be just a remake of old TV shows.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Funny. That would be kind of funny, though.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So, But I think there's plenty to tap. I mean, Sony has plenty of opportunities, so we'll see what they do. I'm excited to see where that goes. I'm excited to see what other dead franchises that might revive for them, because Twisted Metal certainly hasn't had a game since 2013. But if you did a TV series, I would like to see that would revive the game, or if they could get Jaffe back for that kind of thing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. Well, that's really all I've got on that topic, and really as a whole, unless there's anything else you want to add. No. Speaking of Ghost of Tsushima, by the time you're listening to this, we did receive a release date.
We did. You're right.
And I'm super excited about it. June 26, 2020. My last hurrah before the child arrives. And so I'm glad they squeezed that in there for me before July 15th.
They were thinking of you when they made that date.
Clearly they were. Clearly.
Yeah, 100%.
I have very close friends at Sony and Sucker Punch. And I was like, look, guys, quit dicking around. I need to play this game before the kid comes. And I need at least 2 weeks to play it. So they were like, we'll give you 2.5.
Yep.
We'll see.
Better get all your husbandly duties out of the way.
Oh, believe me, I will. I will. I'll probably set the bassinet up here right next to my PlayStation. But
Perfect.
Yeah, that's all I've got, Matt. That's all I've got.
I mean, that's a lot. We've discussed a lot.
We have. I feel good about this. I feel good. I feel so good. I feel so good that we're going to talk about the games coming out this week now.
Hey-o. See you soon.
See you soon. All right, Matt, as tradition dictates, it's important that we recognize every game that comes to the PlayStation every week. We are now up to 150 games after this week, even 150, give or take, maybe one or two if I count incorrectly, or they re-released one from week to week. But we're at 150 as of March 10th, the week of March 10th. So, Matt, as tradition dictates, you shall go first.
All righty. Up first, we have Covert, PSVR digital. Recruited by a mysterious client, you and a partner take on a series of high-profile heists. Utilize gadgets to infiltrate the various facilities as the crafty thief in VR and breach through security systems as the clever hacker on a mobile device. Cooperation and trust will be necessary to sneak past guards, hack through laser grids, crack safes, and much more. Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. I like it. I like it. All right. Hidden Through Time, PS4 out March 12th. Just the initial picture of this makes me think of Where's Waldo? Embark on a colorful hand-drawn journey of discovery through the ages, from missing dinosaur eggs in the Stone Age to a king's crown in medieval times. Can you find them all? Oh, it is Where's Waldo? Discover, create, and share worlds with your own hidden treasures in Hidden Through Time. That's a cool idea, especially if you can create your own.
Yeah, that's kind of, all right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right. Up next, we got Jump, Step, PS4 digital out March 11th. Jump, Step is a gorgeous and funny programming game with bonsai trees, a crazy robot, and a broken rocket. Bob is short-circuited and goes mental. Please send him a series of moves to guide him back to his ship. Without your help, Bob will probably tell himself to step on a spike and die.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, damn you. Langrisser 1 and 2. You are the arbiter of fate in a world ravaged by wars through generations of heroes who battle for peace, order, or chaos. Command Ledin, Elwyn, and their companions in their quest to obtain the sacred sword Langrisser and restore peace to a war-stricken land. Decide who your allegiance lies with in Langrisser 1 and 2, remastered for modern consoles. Never heard of it, but good stuff.
All right. Up next, we have Monster Viator, PS4 digital. Unable to remember who he is, Coulter is mysteriously able to communicate with monsters. He soon comes across Era, a shepherd who controls monsters with a harp, and they set out together to uncover his memories. A fairy tale-like adventure with a legendary hero with 1,000 monsters, a fountain of truth, and a witch unfolds. That was a very convoluted sentence.
No kidding. I'm having a little bit of an aneurysm because of it. All right. Anyway, My Heroes 1, Justice 2, out PS4 digital and retail. My Hero 1's Justice 2, the over-the-top follow-up to the smash hit 3D arena fighter, makes its heroic debut. Make use of full characters' quirks as you clash head-to-head in epic battles across huge arenas. Includes a bonus for purchasing the previous game, My Heroes 1 Justice. Special customization item set for Izuku Midorore. I don't know. That's one of those games that looked really promising and then I heard was trash. Maybe they improved it with the second one, but it looks cool. All right. Anyway.
All right. Up next, Neon City Riders, PS4 digital, out March 12th. Looking for a 2D action adventure mixed with super-powered urban gangs in a post-cyberpunk neon scenario? Take on the role of Rick, a masked vigilante who needs to explore the decaying futuristic neon city in search of items, superpowers, and companions to free the turfs from the 4 superpowered gangs' claws.
Mad Max meets Blade Runner.
Yeah, maybe.
This is what it sounds like to me. All right. Yes, it's here. Finally, Neo 2. Journey to 1555 Japan, a country gripped in endless warfare where monsters and evil spirits stalk a land of natural beauty and menacing peril. Hunt down your enemies as a rogue mercenary wielding the supernatural powers of the mythical yokai. Can you survive the treacherous Sengoku era and the new and terrifying Dark Realm? Cannot wait for that one. Pick of the week.
Yeah, that's right up your alley. All right. Well, last but not least, we have Super Destronaut. Land Wars. Super Destronaut Land Wars. PS4, PS Vita, digital cross-buy. Inspired by arcade classics, this new arcade experience mixes a first-person viewpoint with classic invader-style shooting. Together, this unique mashup. I almost said. Good luck. Together, this unique mashup will test your skills across 30 different challenges. For a change of pace, try arcade mode, which mixes different play styles like combo breaker and snail mode.
All right. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Interesting.
Nice, short and sweet week. 2 in a row.
Yeah, right?
Can't handle it. Can't handle it. All right, Matt. We've done a fine job here, I think, today. Not great, not good, but fine. Whatever that falls on the scale here. Next week, we'll be back. We'll have, hopefully, a couple of other surprises for you. We'll talk about what those will be, but we'll talk about those then. But we've got some things in the works in the background, new segments, new ideas, new things that we want to talk about and do, people we want to talk to. So we'll let you know. We appreciate you stopping by. We appreciate you spending some time with us. And Matt, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. Robert. Thanks for talking with me as always. To be here. And we'll see you next week. Remember, you can find us over at patreon.com/weare1you2, as well as your favorite podcasting service. And until next time, please, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls and children of all ages, game on.
Game on. Happy weekly outro music to Horizon Zero Dawn. It has turned 3 years old.
And we didn't mention it on the podcast.
Please give it to us for free. It's about time. It better be the PS Plus for April.